Welcome to FPL Sucks, and thank God we're back to Premier League games and in the arms of our beloved FPL. The international break is the equivalent of spending the weekend at your grandparents' house. They live in the middle of nowhere with none of your mates about, so all there is to do is watch Coronation Street and Countdown, which, it can be a pleasant break in of itself, but except the international break is far worse than that, because instead of grandma baking delicious homemade cookies, she's out there two-footing a key player in your team and snapping his cruciate ligament. And this time, it's poor Gabriel's turn to get injured, to which I take full responsibility for. It's my fault, not the crunching tackle he suffered during a pointless friendly game, but me. Because you see, it was I who 2 weeks ago finally transferred him in my team to soak up those delicious clean sheet points, and as ever, the FPL gods decided to pull apart their arse cheeks with their fingertips and shit all over me. For you see, during that period, as soon as I transferred him in, Arsenal lost their clean sheet streak, and then straight after that, Gabriel got injured. It was just too good of an opportunity to miss for the FPL gods to humiliate me. FPL sucks, am I right? Oh, FPL sucks. Hey, someone should make a YouTube channel with that name, and you should definitely subscribe to it if it exists, which it does, because it's this one, which you're watching right now. But despite this, however, I am currently on 4 green arrows in a row, one more until I can cut my hair, bringing me up to a 1.6 million rank heading into game week 12, and according to Live FPL, I'm just 66 points away from the top 100,000, which is my goal for the season. So I'm very much still in the hunt, making this week coming up just as important as ever. I can't slip up now. So that's why I've got 4 players I want to talk about for everyone's consideration. I believe they will be key performers in the coming weeks to take our teams to the next level and up the ranks. Alright, shall we stop tickling each other's balls and get into it? Yeah, let's do that. I'm going to talk about Thiago. He's my first player I want to talk about. He's already in my team, but I'm banging the drum again for you that he is the player for your squad, okay? Because if Margot Robbie came up to me and said, hey, FPL sucks, I will let you have me tonight. You can do whatever you want, but only if you transfer out Thiago from your FPL team. Then of course I'll do it, but straight after we, do the deed, I'll definitely bring Thiago back in for a -4 whilst Margot was in the shower. So as you can tell, I am all in on Thiago, and I've said it for weeks now. Even tweeted that he is a better pick than Mateta, and so far, it looks like he's just edging it out between the 2 points-wise. But let's take a look at his stats. For as cheap as chips, £6.3 million, you get a guaranteed starter who basically plays every single second of Brentford's games, where in the last 4 game weeks, he played Newcastle, Crystal Palace, Liverpool, West Ham, and managed to pull out an average goal involvement of 1 per 90 minutes. So either a goal or assist every 90 minutes against those 4 difficult oppositions. And as you can see from my tasty chart here, he is definitely going up in form. His big attempts scored, shots in the box, goal involvements, all those delicious stats that we like to see, they have been going up and up and up from his season as a whole, from the last 4 game weeks and then the last game. And all of that for a price of just 6.3 million. When we compare his player benchmark against all the other forwards benchmark for the season so far, he does outperform them, and at such a cheap price. He's just a player that you can bring in and save the cash and splurge out elsewhere in your team. He just, for me, it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer, and I think he's still technically considered as a differential pick. So the points that he's going to get you is going to really put you in an advantage over people who don't have him in their squad. And so why do I think he's such a better pick than Mateta? Well, he's 22% cheaper for one thing. Mateta is over 8 million in price now, and yet they're both pulling pretty much the same stats. And to be honest, even though Mateta did score a hat-trick recently, I haven't been all that impressed with his, consistability. Have I just made up that word? He doesn't seem that prolific so far this season. He hasn't been consistently putting them away week by week, whereas Thiago has constantly surprised. He has been slotting away chances again in big games when you haven't expected it, certainly from Brentford this season. They continue to outperform people's expectations. And who have they got next coming up? They got Brighton, Burnley, Arsenal, Tottenham. So 2 decent games, one especially against Burnley. Brighton, not too good at keeping clean sheets. And who knows, and to be honest, yeah, even if they're against more difficult oppositions like Arsenal and Tottenham, why not just keep him in your squad anyway when he's only 6.3 million at the time of recording? So do yourself a favour. Get him in your squad. Next up, a player I am seriously considering getting in with the money that I saved, bringing in Thiago, is Mbeumo. Now, last 4 game weeks, Mbeumo has been like a Catholic priest in an orphanage. It's just been too easy for him to score. With an average goal involvement of 1 per 90 minutes, he is definitely in form. Let's take a gander at his stats. He's another guaranteed starter. Again, basically plays every single second of the game. And in the last 4 game weeks, he's got a goal involvement of 1 against Tottenham, Nottingham Forest, Brighton, and Liverpool. So not easy fixtures at all. Yet he's still been performing so well against them. And who have they got coming up next? Everton, Crystal Palace, West Ham, Wolves. Come on, do I need to say much more? Yeah, probably. I need to build the minutes up in this video. But he is just such a guaranteed starter for me. I think I'm talking myself into bringing him in. I was going to use up my transfer to get rid of Gabriel, but I think I'll just keep him on the bench and try and bring in Mbeumo into my starting lineup. If not against Everton, then certainly against West Ham and Wolves in just 2 weeks' time. So do yourself a favour. Bring him in. Doesn't matter if his price is going up and he's now, I think, at least 8.5 million at the point of recording. It doesn't matter. A good player is a good player. Don't let the fact that you're getting him in slightly more expensive as what he was at the start of the season, deter you. If he's good, he's good. So now we're going to head into the next player who would probably be actually a good replacement for Gabriel coming up. He is a defender, but before we move on to him, if you can do us a favour and like the video and subscribe to FPL Sucks, I'd appreciate it. Cheers. So who is this defender I'm teasing you with here? It's Reece James. Now, in another fuck you from the FPL gods, I transferred in Reece James, I think last week, and immediately he's put on the bench against Wolves, a game he would have absolutely dominated in, and though it looks like it was more so to give him a break rather than any injury concerns, as he did come in towards the end of the game. And there's no word of him being injured, so I would still say he's a really strong pick, considering the teams Chelsea have coming up next. They are much easier than the teams Arsenal have got coming up next too. So let's take a gander at Reece's stats here. Again, another player on form. His shots on the box, his goal involvement, his expected goal involvement have been creeping up the last 4 game weeks in comparison to his season to date figures, in brackets STD. And for a defender, he is quite the finisher. Let's compare him, right, to other defenders in the game. We can see his expected goal involvement and actual goal involvement far outperforms that of every other defender in the game. And he's been slotting away his chances, really difficult chances as well, as you can see this big spike in his actual goal involvement return. So yeah, you can expect to kind of see that average out, as it's quite a lot to ask for a player to consistently outperform his expected goal involvements. But again, let's have a look at the teams that Chelsea have got coming up. Burnley, Arsenal, Leeds and Bournemouth. Now, Arsenal obviously are going to be a tricky game, but those are 3 out of 4 very favourable games that I would like to see Reece James perform in. And dare I say it, dare I tempt the FPL gods to fuck me one more time? Maybe 3 out of 4 clean sheets. And maybe a hat. Why not? Let's go all balls to the wall. A hat trick for Reece James as well. Come on, bring me the points, Reece. Come on, boy. And at 5.5 million, I would definitely say he is a decent replacement for Gabriel, and you can use that money elsewhere. FPL says Gabriel has a 75% chance of starting, but I prefer the website EPL Injury Table. They seem to be much more accurate when I've tested them in the past, and they say he's completely ruled out, possibly until January, so I wouldn't hold my breath for Gabriel coming back. Maybe keep him on the bench for a week, find out the real news, if you just want to wait a little bit more, sell him, get James in, save that money and use that money elsewhere in your squad to really boost up your team. So Reece James, looking really good at the moment. So now on to my fourth and final recommendation to take your team up to the next level and reach Valhalla is Pedro Neto. Now, I was this close to dipping my toes into the Pedro pool, but decided against him in favour of Reece James. And we know how that turned out with Reece coming off the bench and only getting 1 point against Wolves. So really disappointed with that, especially as Pedro Neto decided to rub salt in the wounds and score a goal. Cheers for that, mate. But is he a player that you should consider going forwards? I gotta say, yes. It wasn't that long ago I was actually talking against him, but since then he's really started to improve and shove himself in the squad. Now his minutes are still a little bit suspect. You know, Chelsea, I don't know if you know this, but Chelsea have a lot of competition in their squad. And Pedro Neto, however, at the moment has forced his way into the starting lineup. He doesn't get 90 minutes. He gets around 80 on average, but he's been making those minutes count. He is 100% on form after such good last 4 games against Wolves, Spurs, Sunderland, Nottingham Forest, where he's averaged a goal involvement of 1.1 per 90 minutes. That is 105% up from his actual season-to-date figures. So, yes, I said a few weeks ago not to buy him, but I'm a data man. You read the data and you change your mind when more data comes in. And Pedro Neto has changed my mind because he is one juicy slab of data right now. With Burnley especially in the next game. Ooh, it's a decision now against either getting Pedro Neto or Mbeumo. Who's the better choice out of the two? That's an interesting one. And that's one maybe you can debate about in the comment. Let me know. Would you rather have Neto in your team or Mbeumo in your team? In 2 weeks' time, maybe Mbeumo is the better choice to pick as he has West Ham and Wolves, whereas Neto will have Leeds and Bournemouth. So let me know in the comments, who would you prefer to have? If you could only pick one player for the next 4 game weeks, who would you pick? And so there we have it. This has been FPL Sucks. Appreciate you all watching up until this point. If you have done so, then reward yourself with a like to the video and subscribing to the channel. You deserve it. And I'll catch you in the next one. Ciao, ciao.